Hello, and I'm Ross from Figure Painting, and this is a Basic Impetus 2 battle report, early Imperial Rome against Korean or Choson. And just to let you know, this is on the road back. It's early practice games leading up to the competition. We're still very rusty on the rules, playing with Roger. The standard of play is not very good. I have recorded, I've got another 4 or 5 battle reports put together. The standard does improve, and the knowledge of the rules, but this does give you an idea about 2 other armies. I'll keep it fairly short. We'll see how this goes. Something I've started doing is putting the army list on a spreadsheet like this. I'd highly recommend it. Quite confusing without them, so you can pause and have a look at the Romans. Now, the red block means the options have been traded out. So the basic early Imperial Roman list, you get 3 auxiliaries. I've traded that down to 1. Again, the cataphracts, which is probably the worst CP1 or whatever, heavy cavalry in the game. And you can see the pink one there, sorry, lost 1 of those units, and the green, we gained an extra skirmisher as part of the deal, which I'm not sure I fielded. Anyway, quick look at the Roman army. So there's 3 units of legionaries. And I've rebased them again. And they're going on 60mm wide bases, you see there, which you put 2 together and use them for impetus. 2 the strongest, 60mm wide, l'art de la guerre, DBA. You could even use them for Warhammer, because it's roughly 20mm square per figure, because it's 6x4 bases. So I recommend that for flexibility. So there's 3 of those. Here on the left, I have the cataphracts, those lovely figures from Aventine. So I haven't finished painting the lances yet. And on the right, well, actually they're from Aventine as well. So I've got 1 cataphracts, 1 heavy cavalry. Should be some light cav there as well. And there on the left are the javelin men. I'm using those guys. On the right, some skirmish. And here's the Korean list. I think it's the same one that was used. To be honest, the variations aren't huge, except with this one, you can trade out artillery plus 1 other, and instead take the 2-handed swordsmen who get re-roll all misses on charging, which is huge. And they get that every time they charge. So it's like a Roman pilum where you use it once. You get some cheap unit runs into you, use up all the pilums, and it's gone. I don't think Romans are very good in this game, to be honest. And I'll do something else about that separately. This is an army I picked up for Roger quite a long time ago. Nice to see these guys out again. There's the nutty 2-handed sword guys, the Korean Guard. And the ones in black and white, the regulars. The ones in white then are the... Okay, so there's more of the Koreans. They're the raw recruits, whatever they're called. Militia and jolly. All the figures are from Perry's. And jolly nice they are too. And there's the Guard Cavalry. They're nasty. They're 7-4. They hit hard. So the rest of the guys. I think we're actually using those as crossbows. I'll be given some more figures by Roger to paint, and they will be actually replaced by crossbow guys next time we play. And there's the light cavalry, so a nice looking army. Alright, for my 2 aces in the hole, I have gone for my usuals. Iron Discipline, as it says there, allows you to reorder and charge in the same turn. And then the other one is re-roll a cohesion test, which is actually slightly different to what I normally do, because often I go for the one where you can keep your impetus bonus even when wounded. But to be honest, none of the Roman units have got that good an impetus bonus. I think it's called Desperate Charge. But it's very good for the Koreans, and I fully expect Roger's taken that. Okay, so ignore the figures, they haven't been deployed yet. Just look at the scenery. I would try and narrow the battlefield because of the lack of mobility with the Romans and their heavy infantry and trying to punch a hole through. So I've gone for the bottom right, that ugly brown piece is impassable. You roll on a table. If you haven't played the game, you get a choice according to what you roll. I've got an infantry army, I think we both have, so it's table A. And then the one which, if you see right down the middle, my side of the table, Roger's plonked down this big piece of difficult terrain. I know, the rule says you can't place within 8H, which is 48 centimetres, of an existing piece. But the way the rules are written, which is the only way you can play a game, that only applies to the first piece placed by the attacker. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm stuck with that there, which is a real nuisance. So there's the Korean deployment. You can see them angling in to come to the centre. And some of the crucial things to look for are if you look at the right in the middle there, you got the light infantry and shooters combining. And the idea is there that they can do the shoot and draw the fire. If they get pushed back, they interpenetrate, so they'll fly all the way to the back of the unit. And then you've got the long spears protecting against cavalry. Cavalry on the right looking to swing round that building, and both flanks covered. Here's my Romans. I am restricted by this big lump of difficult terrain, or woods, wherever we've called it. You can see I've plonked a few bushes and things on there. Scenery gets better in later reports as well. I'm disordered if I move through that with the heavy infantry, so really I've got just enough room to squeeze them on the front. My plan here is the unit on the right, I'm going to do just enough to keep that light cav in the top right hand corner out of the game. And didn't play very well with a bit, well, I just didn't do it very well really. The cavalry on the left are lined up so less than half their base goes through that difficult terrain so they can charge without being disordered, whatever. But they'll still end up fighting in it. It's just difficult for me to get through this narrow gap. Maybe such a narrow tail wasn't a good thing for me because the cataphracts have got a problem trying to squeeze through on the right as well. Okay, so there's a nicer picture. Colour's a bit stronger there. You can see the Romans through the middle, basically squaring up, ready for the fight. So my guys move out of that difficult terrain, and his like calves come in and swing around the flank. They both sort of advance towards each other. I got my cavalry bottom left holding back. My original plan here, the thinking was, my left would hold back and try and draw him on for my cavalry to charge in. The right flank was going to push up as fast as possible, ignoring the light cav on the far side, leave that one unit of auxiliaries to look after those, and try and hit hard as I can on that right hand side. Problem I realised quite early on, he's really stacked that side. There's all the really good stuff. I'm actually outnumbered that side, so I need to switch it. I've got more chance of attacking on this side. But really we've ended up in a narrow groove and we're going to have to slug it out. Not a lot of room for manoeuvre. And you can see on the left, little red dots show casualties. So my Romans just took a shooting casualty. And the marker for disorder. Better markers come in later games as well. I've already done those games, so I know that to be true. So bear with this one. Alright, so everything's pushing up, both across the centre. The green marker on the left shows just those guys have rallied. And again, I should have realised he's really loaded his, well, the sort of centre, if you like. The one's crashing into my right flank is a very loaded flank. And the Roman quality is not as high as you might think. So we roll off, I get a double 6. And I miss the old rule. The old rule with full impetus. If you get double 6, your general's inspired, and you get an extra +1 on all the initiative roll-offs. One of the fun things that's missing, unfortunately. Right, so you see the auxiliaries. They've got actually exerting a zone of control on both those like cav. So we could have just stood there, I guess. Didn't have to drive them off. But the trouble is they're shooting and we're not. If they give the auxiliaries some javelins, that would really help. In fact, the lack of shooting throughout this Roman army. So we've charged in and they failed to evade. We've hit them, done the damage. So he's rolling on a 2 and rolled low, just gets disordered and actually wins the combat. What can you do? You finally hit the light cav and don't win anyway. And you see the skirmishers are now disordered in the wood because they moved out of the zone of control of those light cav, which you can do moving forwards, but you take a disorder. And here comes the crunch in the centre. And you can see that 6 there. That's my cohesion test, which is a bad start. I've got in with both units. What I think I should have done, of course, and I'm back into the practice again, was rammed in with the auxiliaries first, got their full charge bonus, done whenever I could, and then got in with the Romans, which would have become the main unit. That's the way you double attack. Don't push them in as a group. You don't get the full benefits of either. Alright, there's the 6 on the cohesion test, which is really messing them up, because that's a proper dead, as Gareth used to say. So not going particularly well there. Big handful of dice, a couple of hits, and he's rolled a 2 on the cohesion test. So not breaking through there, just disordered. But we win the combat. Sorry, it was a casualty. And as you can see, they've been pushed back all the way behind the swordsman, out of harm's way. And now he's got an open run for his spearmen to hold off the cavalry or advance, or the swordsman charge through the spearmen. So you set this up much better than I have. Cavalry on the left to try to wheel and advance, to try and find a gap past the legionaries. Got a disorder for that. The right's not going very well. We're going to push up on the left. And here comes the counter charges. They're going to drop into that gap. And it's the nutty swordmen. Here they come. I think they're 5-3 or even 6-3. Really tough. Especially on the charge. And if you can see those dice on there, about those, I think, 4 hits, something like that. This is a shed load of 6s and a double 5. No hits from the Romans. Just, they're going to get slaughtered by the swords. Just managed to roll low enough the cohesion test, not for them to be immediately destroyed. So that unit of the polearm guys are coming flooding in against the auxiliaries, and this flank is collapsing quick. So we have the combat in the middle there, managed to get a few. So I've rolled quite a few 6s now, and he's rolled 6s. These two just ripped into each other, bloodbath. 2 in the cohesion tests, so my guys hold. Right, pushing up on the left flank. There's no way through my cavalry to get through on the far left. I don't know, maybe just charge through the wood. It disorders it anyway. The trouble is you get a penalty for fighting in the wood. But if the legionaries can go in first and be the main unit, it might not be so harmful. That's where we got a slight mistake with the rules, because the skirmishers are sliding to the side into the zone of control of the other legion. You can't do that. It doesn't make a big difference in this game. But you can't... you can only enter into zone of control if you're advancing towards the unit exerting the zone of control. Didn't really matter. Except they had a pot shot and hit. There you go. Anyway, so the legionaries have gone in. And they're going to duff those up. And we're starting to push through on the left. And here comes the counter charge, which still manages to do just enough hits. My only hope now, I think, is try and break the Koreans on this side before they break us on the other flank. And also, with no shooting and heavy infantry, what can you do but get stuck in, really? Or just stand there and die slowly. If you can hear the chickens in the background, they're having a moan about something. Recording this in December, it is pretty cold and wet. And they're not happy, like the rest of us. Not enjoying the weather. Right, so this left flank, still trying to see if there's a way of getting that medium cav to charge in, just clip the flank there. The problem is, because they got long spears as part of that large unit, as we read the rules, would not get the charge bonus. So the Roman cav's not very good. So going on 5, disordered 4. No charge bonuses. The Legion will be the main unit. They'll add 2 dice. I mean, whoopie-doo. So there's a chance to play reroll a cohesion test. Going to get another 6. So this flank hopefully will hold. Could do with a few of them, not just one. Right, so now we see the auxiliaries and the light cav still tangling. I've hit them again. I just can't destroy them. Alright, turn 3. A lot happens in this game very quickly. It's fantastic for playing quickly. You get a whole game in about an hour and a half. An hour, really, if you really push it. Anyway, so we've rolled for initiative. Crucial turn. I've got the 8. My opponent there has used the reroll. Rod's gone for got the double 1, which should be a drunken commander, go down 1 in the old rules. But it's not, so I get to go first. And for some reason, it's showing the light cav. Oh, I guess they're evading. That's what it is. They're evading. So nothing much happens on that right flank. Plot spoiler. They just chase each other around for the rest of the game. So I guess the auxiliaries did their job. Meanwhile, the much vaunted legionaries. Now, what I'm thinking here, the legionaries, you can see better than me on my tiny pictures, is they're down to 1 or whatever, or 2. As soon as they go, then the cataphracts can charge in. I'm hoping they can just knock those polearm guys down a bit. If they can knock them out to, say, 2 or something like that, would be great. And hopefully run them over without them doing too much damage to the cataphracts. And then a charge into the swordsman. Because I really want to hit the swordsman because they don't have long spears. And I'm looking at the angles. If I could just wheel those cataphracts, they could just clip the swordsman, I reckon. But the cataphracts are then be in the wood and getting all sorts of penalties for fighting in the wood as heavy cavalry. The other thing I've noticed is those skirmishers have been sneaking through the wood. If I can get them behind, he's all squashed in his units. If they go behind, there's no retreat square for him to go to if I can win a melee anywhere. And if you can't retreat at all, you're destroyed. So you can see the skirmishers have shuffled up to that gap behind there. The legionaries have slammed in again. I'm hoping, well, not hoping, but I mean, what I'm hoping for is that they smash through and destroy everyone. But realistically, they can die in one turn, which opens the way for the cataphracts to pile through. Yeah, so you can see we squeezed in a spare sabot. The wheel would just miss. It was a little bit gamey. It just missed those spearmen, and he could charge into the swordsman, but it'd be a disorder for wheeling and moving. More than half the front would be in the woods. You wouldn't get any charge bonus anyway. All round pretty bad. So I've decided that the fate of the legions is up. And I'm going to do a sideways shift to get the cataphracts somewhere nearer to where they should have started the game. It'll be a disorder for moving sideways, but if the legionaries disappear, they can then plough through where it should have been. Another problem with heavy armies is no interpenetration, of course. And the legionaries heroically fight on the right-hand flank. And we're piling on the left. It's a bit of a mashup. They do look like real battles, these things, though. You know, you can imagine trying to fight through this, almost through the pass, really, isn't it? Unfortunately, left flank not going very well. See, the general is now committed with 2 units trying to attack him. So I'm concentrating on trying to use these left-hand units, even though they're not very strong, to take out what's his right flank, so that my legionaries with the general are not outnumbered 2-1. They've already got their hands full without being outnumbered as well. And no one likes to see their general die. So then goes the cavalry. I say the reason for that, they're not the cavalry. I think of 5, disordered 4, fighting in the wood, so not getting many dice. Now, even though I'm hitting the side of the base, it still counts as spear protected. If you check the rules, I can't see anything. Even if you attack the rear of a unit, if they got spears, your cavalry unit's lost. But all I'm trying to do is draw them away from counting 2-1 against the general's unit. So there's the overall situation. On the left, we're just trying to break through there. We do have a slight advantage, but it's gone badly. In the middle, the auxiliaries that were getting beaten up have retreated back into the difficult terrain. I think there are 1 VBU1s. There's no point in them just staying there to die. We sail on the legionaries, hold on in the middle, so the cataphracts can get stuck in. Looking very bad. The auxiliaries have done great stuff, though. They chasing that cavalry. Try and push them off the table is the idea. But guys on foot, not really going to catch like cav. And right in the middle is the skirmishers sneaking around the back to try and set the trap. So there we go. As you can see, the legionaries is down to 1. Cataphracts are disordered from their sideways movement. So if the legionaries can hold on 1 turn, please, and not have him overrun into the cav, then we can pop next turn and do the charge. And the legionaries won. This crazy world. You just never know what's coming next to you. So, the way it worked was the legionaries did a hit, passed their cohesion test, just lost 1 because they were already disordered. I think did 1 or 2 wounds. And if you look at the situation, because of the skirmishers sneaking around the back, these spearmen were wedged in against the nutty swordsman and could not retreat. They couldn't interpenetrate. So that's it. They get destroyed. Well done, the legionaries. And I think you just do the decent thing and move up, pin the swordsman, and win a combat there or lose a combat there. Then the cataphracts can do the same to the swordsman, because they'll be able to retreat a little bit. They'll make 1 retreat up to the skirmishers. Then if they can win 2 rounds, they're gone without using that massive +3 charge bonus they have. So there we go. The legionaries seem strange to charge in on VBU1. Any hit from the swordsman, they're dead. But I need them out the way to get the cover. It's a ruthless business being a Ancients general, isn't it? Sorry, lads. And boom, they got popped as expected. Unfortunately, I just want to do 1 wound on the swordsman, just get a disorder on them, just get their odds down a bit to improve the odds of the cataphracts, because Roman cavalry's not that great. But at least they'll now get the charge bonus. So there's 6-3, -1 for disorder, 8 dice when they do get the charge. Now we've got the spears out of the way. So the other side, the general's unit, manfully fighting on with these 2 units on the left. You see the cavalry's rallied, getting ready to charge in. And there's the chasing around the right. Okay, so remarkably now the legions holding their own, and the skirmishers, he's realised now what a pain my skirmishers are, and they're going to run round and try and deal my skirmishes. And I did play the whole game one skirmish unit light, looking back on it. I forgot, when I get the cataphracts, they come with a skirmish unit. And that would have been so useful if I had out in the wood on the left there. Well, it'd been a different game, but an extra one would have been. Okay, I get a massive 6, so we're... That helps, and the cavalry just looking at this charge now, saying, right, come on, let's run those swordsmen through with our nice long lances. Bash, and I've got that one. Reorder and charge in the same turn. Ha 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 ha. I do like that card. So I don't have the disorder, which is a big difference. Not only number of hits you do, you know, 1 extra dice, but you don't die as quickly when you get hit back. So with 9 dice, only 2 hits unfortunately, a 6 and a double 5. And roll a 1 arc cohesion test, that's going well. If we could just won that though, if we just had a bad roll on the swordsman cohesion test, could have broken him in 1 turn, that would have been heroic, and suddenly back in the game. Meanwhile on this side, cavalry moving up to make that charge, help out the general, who's dying slowly. There they go. Come on boys, get in there. Like I said, just drawing off that unit to stop the 2-to-1 odds. No charge bonus, into a wood. But more than half the base out the wood, so it could have been worse. Right, so they've gone in, and miraculously, they've won. Things are suddenly churning for the Romans. Got a bit of hope suddenly. After Paul played the first few turns, some desperate charges. They failed the pursuit. All the angles and everything, a bit weird. He rolled high for his retreat. Didn't quite catch on the pursuit. Would have been quite nice to do. It's down to the general on his own. At least he's 1-to-1 odds with that cavalry now. If we could take them out. We're almost breaking the Koreans. There again, you see them running away from the amazing fast-running auxiliaries. Okay, so the cavalry front. There's the overview. Trying to push up on the left. General holding in the middle. Cavalry charging the swordsmen. Auxiliaries chasing on the right. And fortunately, the cataphracts did not smash their way through. And the trouble is, this kind of cavalry, they just, I mean, I don't even failed the cohesion test. We take 1 per turn. They've lost the charge bonus. They're now down to 4 disordered. They're getting 3 dice. You know, it's, I think heavy troops should get a permanent melee bonus. You know, shooty troops always get their pluses. Well, not the melee troops, but hey, that's the way the game is. It just means heavy foot and heavy cav, and don't really have any real strengths. Alright, so roll to go first. I'm now going second this time. And the attrition against the legionaries. Getting 1 down with that cavalry. He's rallied on the top left. So now it's a nightmare. If we charge them, you can get defensive fire. It's a large unit. Cavalry's down to 4 disordered. 3 dice. Just running out, really. And the general units popped in the centre. You see the explosion where he was. It's -2 now on all initiative rolls. And getting closer to breaking. Look at that. So I get my 4 dice for the cataphracts. No hits at all. 4 dice for the swordsman. 3 hits. So I'm testing against a 1. So anything above a 1 is a casualty. And roll a 1. Bonus. But they are down to 3 now. So 3 disorder rolling 2 dice. I mean, how could cat? There we are. And I get off. No ranting about heavy troops not getting a melee bonus. This is for another time. So there's the overview. I've rallied these infantry in the bottom left. Cataphracts not long to last. We kind of hold your own in the middle. Most things are down to 1, very close to breaking. And there you see the cataphracts being ground down. And the skirmishers are now being chased back into that wood. They're outnumbered. The guys in the middle trying to hold on. And boom, there go the cataphracts. So you got fresh, heavy cavalry charging into swordsmen. And they've got thrashed. And there was some good rolling by the Koreans as well. But hey-ho, the game's more or less up. One of those crazy roll-offs. I got a 7, which caused the -2 because the generals died. It becomes a 5, so it's a tie. I use my reroll, get 7. Again, it's a tie. We both reroll. Try beating 13. Not easy with 2 dice. There's an overview. Now, I do have more pictures. I'm going to flick through quickly while I talk about the game, but really that's it. The number's up. I mean, the guys attacking on the left, like on 3s and 2s. There's a guy on a 1 in the wood. Auxiliaries trying to chase that cavalry. I'll take a couple more with me. That's more or less it. Tough game for the Romans. So I'm just going to flick through the pictures while I talk. In general terms, I think Romans get a rough deal, which considering his Italian writer is a bit strange. Pilums are one use. So why is it guys with javelins from some scruffy tribe can reload all day, whereas an efficient, organised empire army like Roman gets one pilum each, lads? That's your lot. Once you've chucked it, it's gone. And I obviously reasonably should have javelins as well anyway, because he'll sit there being heavy infantry, very vulnerable. They always carried a couple of javelins or light spears. But that's the way it is. The cavalry's not particularly great. Nothing's that great, really. I need something up with a small army and it's quite expensive. Maybe I shouldn't have gone for the trades. I don't know. Oh yeah, by the way, the cavalry down to 1 actually won a melee. Push that large unit back. Because I've got the Romans in the middle as the main unit and the cavalry is next to dice or something. But, often doesn't really make a lot of difference. Yeah, Roger played it really well. He put a lot more thought into this than I had, obviously. Organised. That's the advantage of light troops over heavy troops. Although we later checked, and I think some of those Koreans, if you go for the other options, are going to be heavy, so it's not quite as flexible as hoped. The real good thing about this Korean army, and I think it's a tough army, is the 5-3 nutty swordsmen are very tough. The cavalry's like 7-4, plenty of shooting, lots of long spears and pole arms to defend against cavalry. I think it's a tough army. Wouldn't be surprised if Roger ends up using that in the tournament, which is going to be in January, which would have been, so I'm recording these 6 weeks before the tournament, and you'll probably see them after the tournament. What I'm going to do is build them up, not to give the game away as it were. But anyway, Romans aren't going to be on my list, which is a blinking shame, because I've got loads of them, nicely painted. I love using Romans, but the lack of mobility, heavy infantry aren't very good. They don't get any bonuses in melees, so what exactly are they useful for? I think it's a shame. But there you go. Koreans on the lake. I think shooty armies are good in this, light armies. The shooting has been nerfed by the tables, but still, someone's shooting you can't shoot them, it's a tough day. Alright, so you see the last row extend the legion in the middle. Yeah. Actually, they won another game. Yeah, they won another battle, took another unit with them. So we actually got the Koreans quite close in the end, which is purely by chance rather than any manoeuvring or good play. There we are. Got us back into it. There's the final battlefield. Bit of a bloodbath. Took quite a few Koreans with us. Like I said, got us back in the swing, back to the rules. And the reports do get more interesting and better as we starts coming back to us how you play this game, which I highly recommend, by the way. Get the downloadable version, about a $5. You're often playing. Easy rules to pick up. And I might even do some tutorials if any demand for it. So hope you enjoyed that. Lots more reports flying out. So in the meantime, till the next one, keep rolling.